Thursday, March 16, 2023 at 7 p.m. Christy, if you would please call the...
Trustee Bancole?
Here.
Trustee Priegi? Here. Trustee Husani? Here. Trustee Gutierrez?
Here.
Trustee Porter?
Here.
And Trustee Kemper?
Here.
All present.
All present. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
the whole world listen. Whole world listen. That's kind of weak I've had. Okay. Motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
I like to, before we do that, I like to make a motion, if we can please move to, if I can get a second, to move to executive session for a very small period, tiny period.
Can you say that again?
I like to make a move so that we can move to executive session for a very limited period.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
I can get a second for that.
We have a motion and a second to go to executive session.
Before you take a vote on that, it's Bernie, you have to specify the purpose that you would be going into executive session,
I like
which has to be part of the motion that is made.
Okay, I make a motion.
So I would declare the motion out of order at this point in time until that's done.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to go into.
Well, first of all, there was a motion made and there was a second made. Is the motion withdrawn and the second withdrawn?
Yes,
Withdrawn.
withdrawn.
Okay.
Okay?
Purpose?
And if it's, maybe you should say what it's for, and
Right.
we can help you with the provision.
Right. So I'd like to make a motion again to move to executive session for a very short period to discuss an item on the consent agenda.
You have to say what the purpose of the meeting is, and it has to be one of the exceptions for a closed session. So what item on the agenda?
The item is 7A2.
I have to look at the agenda.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Can we move that item to the end of the agenda?
Would that be okay if we move that?
Yeah, let's, we have,
Bernie?
So 7-8, let's do this in the right order. 7A2 is the ordinance fixing the salary and compensation of the manager. I assume that would be compensation, which I think is covered under 2C1. Of the exceptions. So that would be the motion under that section.
okay, typically, executive session comes at the end of the meeting. I'd like to move it to the end.
So would that be okay, Bernie, if we withdraw that motion and say that we move executive session to the end of the
Well,
meeting?
the village board can hold the executive session if they want to hold it at any time.
Okay.
So you need a motion and a second. The motion has to indicate the purpose of the meeting under one of the exceptions. And I would assume in the motion you would specify when you're going into executive session. Because usually what we do, unless you want to hold the motion till the end of the meeting and go into executive session at the end of the meeting. But if otherwise, in the motion, you'd specify when you're going into executive session.
Okay, so Bernie, we're going to make a motion that we are going to go to executive session at the end of the meeting to discuss 7A2. Do we need a second motion to remove from consent agenda 7A2 as well?
No. Yeah, no, you don't need a motion. Any trustee can remove it from the consent agenda.
Okay, so let's remove 7A2 as well. So can I get a second for the first motion to move to executive session at the,
There's only one motion.
or a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay,
To the end of the meeting?
And,
the end of the
and
meeting.
that would be under section 2C1.
Okay.
Personnel.
Okay, 7A3
Setting
now
salaries.
comes to the end of the meeting,
right.
executive session.
So just to clarify, so 7A2 has been removed from consent agenda, but then when we go to talk about it, that's when we go into executive session? Okay,
And then we'll probably return.
okay.
Okay. Thank you, Bernie.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
For
Christie,
that.
call the roll.
Okay, hold on, sorry.
Well,
I'm gonna make a motion in a second for that to be moved to the end of the meeting, not the acceptance of the agenda. yet.
okay,
Okay. Trustee Bancole?
yes.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Great, now we're gonna do acceptance of the agenda.
Okay.
With the removal,
Yeah, with the,
okay, go
we're
ahead,
going to executive session at the end of the meeting.
do that then.
Thank you. Motion to accept the agenda.
So moved. Second.
I'd like to remove 7A5 from consent agenda.
Thank you.
We are removing 7A5 from consent
And 7A2,
to the bottom of the agenda,
yep.
to paraphrase. Be shorter, smarter.
Can I take roll? Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
And Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Presentations. Do we have any?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not yet.
No presentations.
Town hall session, anyone for town hall?
Mr. Bruce?
Bruce Suchard? Okay, Bruce.
You have 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yes,
Okay. Will you let me know when there's 1 minute left?
I absolutely will.
Thank you. Don't start yet.
I'll hold it.
Tick, 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 tick.
This clicker.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Hi, Bruce.
trustees. I guess first of all, I want to thank trustee Gutierrez and, I don't know how to pronounce your last name?
Bancole.
Bancole. Great. Sure. For responding to my emails and calls. I'd like to call, I gave each one of you a copy of the ordinance, which is 62-110, 6.2.4, which is pursuant to village ordinance. It is unlawful to park a commercial vehicle in a residential district except under the conditions stated below. And then there's a whole series of conditions. And I apologize that in many ways this is very personal, but I drive a transit, it's like a half bus. It's a transit van. I take 6 or 7 disabled kids to school every day. And I've been parking my van in my driveway for the last 2 years. What happened is that one of my neighbors, I won't go into a lot of details, but he's done a lot of strange things already, like calling the police because my dog peed on his lawn, and calling the police, or not calling the police, but coming to my house telling me that my cat peed in his backyard. Number of other things. But because he complained, then the code enforcement people, Janine, came out and gave me a warning. And then she came back with, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, whoever is the head of code enforcement. And they literally measured my van, and my van meets all the requirements. It's below the 8,000 pounds allowed. It's below, 3 of us had to hold the thing up and measure. It's less than 9 feet tall. And so I want to ask that the trustees would consider, now I understand the reasons for this ordinance. You don't want somebody with a commercial vehicle, they say like stored, you know, that it has, you know, ladders, racks, cargo, somebody that would store it all the time at their house. I understand that. I don't do that. I leave at 6 in the morning. I come back at 4:30 in the afternoon. The ordinance says that no commercial vehicle, all it says on my bus is Sunrise, the name of the company. No commercial vehicle can be parked anywhere in the village between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., which means that when I come home for lunch, I have to park it in Bartlett and walk home, et cetera, et cetera. I even asked the local Indian church on the corner of Greenbrook and Arlington to park there. They said they thought it'd be okay, but their lawyer said no because it would be a violation of their insurance, which I understand. So anyway,
I think that's a temple. Yeah.
you think it's what?
It's not a church, it's a temple.
Temple, I'm sorry. I mean, they were really nice, but their lawyer said no. So I'm just asking, I don't see in any way, shape, or form that parking my school van in my own driveway would cause any detriment whatsoever to the neighborhood. I live in a cul-de-sac, to the village of Hanover Park. And so I guess what I'm asking is if you can make an exception. Again, the police told me, the code enforcement people told me the only reason that they're there is because somebody complained. That's why, even though I've been parking there for 2 years, I never had a problem. And when I drove around my neighborhood in Greenbrook, there are probably 35 commercial vehicles parked in driveways, not all day, but at some point. And again, when I talked to the head of the code enforcement, he said, "Do you want me to come out and ticket them?" And I said, "No, absolutely not. They're not hurting anybody." So if there's some way I can ask for an exception. In my case, I also have a neighbor that the complaint went to them too. Brand new Serbian neighbor, young couple, that would have the same problem. So thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
We'll take your notes and share them with the police chief. Do you have a copy? I'll share this with the police chief, and they will confer on it.
Yeah, the code enforcement chief is the one that.
I'm talking about,
The police, yeah,
Police,
they run the
okay.
code enforcement, yep.
he's sitting right there.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
What type of plate do you have on your car, or your truck, or whatever it is?
I think it's a D, which
Okay.
I think is not good for.
Well, the last time we went through this, we ended up permitting D plates, so I'm just curious.
I'd be really grateful if you could do that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for town hall?
I
Anybody-
just want to also say thank you to the code enforcement chief and Janine. They were just so kind.
Thank you.
We hire exceptional people. Thank you.
And we elect even people like that.
All right,
Anybody else for town hall that would like to speak?
thank you. Okay. Let's see. Village President report. Okay. I've been all over the news here recently, if you haven't noticed, concerning the railroad safety issue and the STB, the Surface Transportation Board, ruled yesterday in favor of the merger. Our congressional delegation is not pleased with that outcome, and our next steps are being evaluated at this time. I will say that they're functioning under some old rules that I don't believe they apply anymore. I think people come before systems, and so do the mayors along the corridor, which I could probably speak an hour on it, but I'm not going to. I just wanted to let the board know I appreciate their support with my time, not only flying to Washington, but engaging on this subject matter. I'd like to say well done to the police department on the transfer of our legacy L3 equipment to Elmhurst. I think working together in collaboration with other departments, especially with equipment it's outmoded for us, but it helped them in their transition. And so our folks worked that out. It'll aid them greatly, and I like to see that level of cooperation. I'm excited tonight to see that we're going to move on our police station, on our fire station. I can tell you, I was a part of shutting down the taxing body, the fire district, when County Farm Road opened up. We didn't have a need for a far down south station, and we needed to relocate. So I've been a supporter for what we're about to engage in, and I'm excited about it because it'll enhance the response time and safety within our community. It's been a long time coming, and I'm doubly excited because we figured out, and I want to thank the staff for working together to find a way to save the dollars, cut the dollars out of whatever area you have to save us from bonding. If we had to bond, we're looking at over 20 years, $2.4 million. To cover that, you're talking about raising taxes. I'm not an advocate for raising taxes. I think we've done exceptionally well over the years, and I want to thank the entire staff, because everybody has to pitch in together. You work together collaboratively and cooperatively, and this is a great example of that. So with that, when I read through these minutes and the bids and everything else that came across, it was an exciting read for me. So with that, I move to approve by unanimous vote items on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing
So
none.
this is Bernie, Paul. So those are items 7A1, 7A3, 7A4, 7A6, and through 7A14.
Thank you, Bernie.
Great. Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
And Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Bernie is in the cloud and recovering from his COVID experience. So I'm happy to move on. 7A1. Pardon me? Oh,
5.
I do forget, don't I? 7A5, motion to approve amendment number 1 to the standard design build agreement and general conditions dated October 7th, 2021 with RG Wegman to set the guaranteed maximum price of $9,219,566 for the construction of a new fire station, number 16, and authorize village manager to execute the necessary documents. In addition, this motion approves the total construction costs of the project of $9,441,556 to include soft costs not part of the GMP and $160,000 for the kitchen renovation of Station 15 and additional soft costs for Station 15 of $30,635.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? I've already made my comments, I guess. So,
Yes. Thank
Trustee
you.
Bancole.
Thank you.
So they have some opening comments. Can we do those first?
Great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Colette Rosinski from RC Wegman will
Okay.
begin.
Can I ask, I'm glad that we have presenters here, but why was this put on consent agenda if we have people coming to make presentations?
They're not making a presentation, but Trustee Bancole had some questions, and we
Okay.
put together the answers, and we've asked the consultant to address them.
Okay.
Very good.
Thanks, Paul.
Yes. Good evening, Village Trustees. I'm excited to be here today to give you an update on where we have come since we last spoke in August. My name is Colette Rosinski, President of RC Wegman Construction, the design build contractor for this project. Since meeting, we have been meeting every 2 weeks, and when you hired RC Wegman as your construction manager, it is our goal to act as, an extension of the Village of Hanover Park and get you the best possible price we can for this fire station. By doing that, we're incorporating as many subcontractor bids as we can possibly get for your project, vetting the lowest one in each bid package, and then bringing this GMP to you with the lowest possible number that we can. We understand that these are taxpayer dollars, and we make it our goal and mission to get the best possible price. When we were here in August, it was asked about R.C. Wegmans' DBE, MBE, and WBE goals. And R.C. Wegman has a goal of 20%. However, as we discussed, it's sometimes difficult to meet that goal when we have to award to the lowest responsible bidder. However, I am very excited with the amount of participation that we got on this project and to share some statistics with you on those numbers. To do that, I'm going to turn it over to Doug Bohr, who was the head of estimating for this project and bidding this project and reaching out to so many contractors to get a great number for you guys. Doug?
Very good, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Doug Bohr from R.C. Wegman. Just a recap of our bidding process. So the project went out to bid on January 19th of this year. It was hosted on the Village of Hanover Park's website. That's the only spot that you could get the plans, and we made that decision internally as a way to capture all the DBE information. So if people were going to bid on this project, they could only go to Village of Hanover Park, so then we could collect all that data. There were 259 companies that became plan holders on the Village website. It was a really good turnout. 34 of those companies indicated that they were a DBE, so around 13% of total plan holders were DBE. On February 9th is when the bid opening was. We had the bid opening in this room. Is very full, really good turnout. There were 108 bids received on bid day among the 22 different bid packages. So it's averaging almost 5 per bid package, which is a really good turnout. Many of the larger, more important bid packages saw many more than 5. For example, there were 12 masons that bid on this project, so it was a really good turnout. Of the 108 total bids received, 15 of them came from a company that is a DBE contractor, so around 13.9% of all bids received were from a DBE. 3 out of the 22 bid packages, the low bidder is a DBE, so that almost the exact same percentage, around 13.6% were DBE. And lastly, R.C. Wegman is a women-owned business. We're a WBE. When you factor in us, in addition to the 3 subcontractors who would be awarded this project, the total DBE participation is 19.9% of the construction GMP. So that's kind of just a recap of where we were from August when we last spoke to now, where the GMP amendment is presented in front of you for approval. So thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
If you had any additional questions, we'd be happy to answer them as well.
Yeah, so thank you for presenting that data. I think that's what I was looking for, so it's really helpful. And glad to hear that, I guess by only having our website as that channel that you were able to obtain that data. So thank you very much for doing that, and thank you to our staff as well. What was the 22 figure that you said?
22 bid packages total. So an example would be earthwork and site work as a bid package, plumbing as a bid package, electrical. We can share those separate bid packages and the numbers with you as well, so you can see everyone that bid on it. One example I wanted to bring to mind that had a huge price difference was the earthwork package. There was a WBE company that bid on it, and they were at $598,000. The low bid was $298,000. So there was, you know, a big difference in a lot of pricing, right. And so, you know, the goal is to do it for the best possible price. Mm-hmm. And so that was one where, you know, it was just a huge gap that probably is not worth spending $300,000 on. So I did want to bring that to light as well. And I do want to commend the Village of Hanover Parks Board for being, you know, aware of this and having this conversation and making it a focus, because 5 years ago we weren't doing this. So I would like to commend you and thank you for the work that you're doing as well, and for giving Wegman the opportunity to work for you. Thank you.
Thanks for saying that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I just wanted to say to my fellow board members, I mean, this is really operationalizing DEI in action, right? To
It
see
is.
that 19% of our contracts, or I guess 3 out of the 22, will go to diverse contractors is, it puts a smile on my face. So, thank you. Thank you to my fellow board members.
Puts a smile on my face because we're modeling the right stuff.
Agreed.
Not
Thank you.
everybody's here. Thank you. Any other board questions? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Husani.
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez. Yes. Trustee Porter.
Yes.
Trustee Kemper.
Yes.
Trustee Bancole.
Yes.
And Trustee Prigi.
Yes.
I guess you have your marching orders. Yes. I'm so excited about this, you have no idea.
Thank you.
Oh,
So just one comment now that it's passed. The work, the schedule, they are on schedule. We are on schedule for this project. The project should be built and open. We're projecting January, February of 2024. So that's built and everyone moved in, so.
we'll see dirt flying in the neighborhood.
Thanks for that update.
All righty. No, go. Okay, next is
Thank you very much.
7A
15.
Thank you.
50.
We'll come back to you at the very end.
Staff requests the village president and the board provide direction regarding the park district's request to waive all water fees to fill the Hanover Park District Seafire Springs Aquatic Center pool for the summer of 2023.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I'm struggling with the numbers as I read them, and I don't have it in front of me for some reason. I
So
think it makes sense that we
what,
have, almost everything we do, we ask the perpetrator, probably the wrong word, whoever we're working with, to at least cover the cost, in this case, the cost of the water, which is a lot less than $9.35 or whatever it happens to be, as I recall. I can talk into the microphone.
Juliana.
So, I know the board may have different ideas, but when I saw the cost come in so high, it,
Excuse me, I think Juliana has a question.
it's not a question, Mayor, we had a conversation that we're meeting with the Park District based on the Park District's request next week. And so we may want to pull this agenda. No, that their finance and executive directors have asked to meet with staff regarding the financing of the Park District activities. So I don't know what is going to take place in that meeting. They've requested that meeting, so we may want to ask more questions about the filling of the pool and the waiving of the water.
I knew there was something I forgot. So I would ask the board to defer this till the next meeting. After our follow-up, we have a meeting next week with the Park District, Juliana, myself, and
Is there? Yeah,
somebody at the park board.
Yeah, I agree, but I agree we should defer this, but I would like for this to be a conversation between the board and,
That's all. Motion to table?
Yeah.
motion table. I'd like for that to be a discussion between, because I knew we had talked and we said we would meet in January, and we would come again and meet together in January, I think, and we didn't do a second meeting with them at all.
Do we meet
With the board.
January with the
We were supposed to do a second, I think.
Yeah, we have not put that on the calendar. We've just been.
So I don't know specifically what they want to discuss at the meeting next week. I just thought it was an opportunity to ask them some more questions about water and the waiver of the water and how that fits in the overall budget that they have, because I have not reviewed that. It's a big number when we calculate it with our water rate, water and sewer rates, so.
So we have a motion. Did we get a second?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should table it as well, because I'm not comfortable with the number as it's been presented, without
If,
any particulars.
it's Bernie, Paul. If I recall correctly, the motion didn't actually specify anything. Could the clerk repeat what the motion was?
Yes. Staff request the village president and board provide direction regarding the Park District's request to waive all water-related fees to fill the Hanover Park District Safari Springs Aquatic Center pool for the summer of 2023.
That's the item that's on the agenda. What was the motion?
Oh, is the motion to table?
The motion to
No,
table
the
until the
motion
next
before
meeting.
that. Wasn't just I move?
Lisa's was, did.
No,
or,
it
I'm
was
sorry.
always a motion to table this or remove it from the agenda.
I think we have a motion to table and a second.
In other words, what I'm trying to say is that this item, if you read it, is asking the board to basically give some feedback. But what happened was there was a motion made. Was it a motion to pass something? So maybe the best thing is that whoever made the motion would withdraw the motion, whoever seconded the motion would withdraw the second, and that the item be removed from the agenda.
All right, so I'm motion to withdraw my motion.
I didn't second. Did you have me down to second? Okay, I removed the second.
So Bernie, the motion should be to remove the item from the agenda?
No, if the motion's been withdrawn and the second is,
Correct.
there's a motion, whoever made the motion is withdrawing the motion, whoever made the second is withdrawing the second, and then someone can make a motion to remove it from the agenda, or move it to the next agenda.
Okay, I'll make a motion to remove this from the agenda
And move it to the next.
And move to the next.
and move it to the next board meeting.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to move from the agenda. And a second. Christie, call the roll, please.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Where the heck are we? 7816. Move to pass an ordinance authorizing the Sixth Amendment to the FY 2022 budget of the Village of Hanover Park. 2/3 vote of the corporate authority, Susan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Hearing none. Christie, call the roll, please.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
And Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Thank you. 7817, move to approve warrant 3/16/2023 in the amount of $305,084.80.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
And Trustee Gutierrez?
Yep.
Thank you.
18.
I'm still thinking about the fire station. I'm so excited about that. Let's see here. 7818, move to approve warrant paid in advance to 24/2023 through 3/9/2023 in the amount of $292,266.45.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Brigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Village Manager's Report.
No report, Mayor.
I'm just happy about the fire station. That's all. I'm easily happy. Village Clerk's Report. Christie?
Just keep posted on the events coming up in the village that we have going on. We have the Doggy Extravaganza coming up, and then we also have the Kids at Hope Fair that we're looking forward to this coming month, April. So keep an eye out on those. The 29th, yes. But keep an eye on those events coming up. Come bring your friends and family.
Since we published the 22nd on the Kids at Hope, we need to get out the word that it's going
Yes.
to be on the 29th.
Correct. That
Somehow.
flyer's been being made, and I believe Dave's going to be posting it.
Dave's taking care of
I
it.
believe he's posting it.
Corporation Council report. Bernie?
No report, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee reports. Trustee Bankole?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So a couple weeks ago, I was able to attend the Turkish American Society of Chicago's fundraiser event. The Turkish American Society is headquartered in Mount Prospect, and really they are, in my opinion, the biggest organization that celebrates Turkish Americans, and this fundraiser reminded me that although the earthquake that occurred in Turkey and Syria is not in the news anymore, it was a reminder that almost 50,000 people lost their lives, and that's quite literally more than our entire village, and it's such a tragedy, and so I would just ask that that you still continue to keep those that have been impacted by this earthquake just in your thoughts and prayers. Earlier today, I was able to attend the Illinois Housing Council's Affordable Housing Forum. They talked about a wide variety of things like addressing homelessness in your respected community, tax incentives for developers, energy efficient standards for homes. And as we continue to build new homes in Hanover Park, I'm excited for those developments, but also hope that we move forward in a way in which there are affordable homes that do become available for our residents. So yesterday we got the news that the STB approved the Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern merger, and although we are disappointed by this news, I wanted to take the time to thank the mayor and our staff and all the people who put so much time and effort into organizing this coalition, flying to DC to advocate on behalf of Hanover Park and Chicago area municipalities. This merger is concerning, but I am very much thankful for the work that took place to really try to galvanize support against the merger, I should say. Anyways, I'm just trying to say thank you. So I was, in thinking about the fire department and the contractors that we are going to hire for that project, I was reminded that our staff went through the operationalizing DEI pilot through UIC, and so, and I believe that this pilot ended in January of this year, and so I was hoping that the board could be provided with just a general update as to lessons learned, things that we're going to be seeing in the village. It'd be helpful.
Okay, Barry, do you want to?
Where we are at is Dave and I met last week. We're updating our language competency bonus program to incorporate not only the changes that we learned in the community since that was developed 21 years ago, but we took our group, we had a committee that we put together and received their input as well, and we ran it by the village manager, and we're in the process of updating that part of our process. So there's other additional outward-looking pieces, such as translating into different languages, that we'll have an update within the next several weeks.
So that had been the project, so each community who was part of the LORE training had to pick a project, if you recall, and our team picked to evaluate the various languages that are spoken in our community and how, and it had been one of the items that listed in our strategic plan to evaluate that. So they took that on as their project and had it evaluated and presented before the whole team. And I think the different projects for the communities were distributed to all of you earlier in the year. So they have put together, I think there's 8 different action items that they have presented to me. I made some comments on them. They're pulling them together, and then we'll make a presentation to the board.
And the goal of our pilot project is to maximize language access to residents. So that is the goal. That is what the changes that we're going to present to you, that's what it's going to, the end goal of that.
In addition to that, though, the various departments, I think I sent an email to you later this afternoon. Various departments are working on DEI efforts. That's not the only effort in the community or in the organization. We have, I believe, 4 or 5 different action steps in the strategic plan. Our next full presentation on the strategic plan is planned for June 1st for the board to go through all the items in that strategic plan. And so at that point, we would give you a formal presentation of where we're at on various things, and that would encompass like the training that the police department's doing and the new staff person that they've identified for recruitment and those kind of things. So I guess my question, and I had asked in the email, was, are you looking for something specific on this before June 1st? That's our plan, so if you could let me know, other than this update.
Yeah, and so thank you, Juliana and Barry, for this update. A formal update would be great. I would appreciate that, and I welcome my fellow board members if you'd like to join me for an update.
So on their project, on the language, because that's what they're preparing right now as a report on how the action items on this language LORE.
Yeah, but also just the pilot itself, right? Because it's a newer program that UIC is running for municipalities.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, was it worth our time? You know, things, yeah. Lessons learned. You know, just an overall update would be helpful.
Okay. Well, we'll plan for that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'll have to see how long it takes to finalize that, but we'll put it on a future agenda.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very fair approach.
Yeah. Thank you. And the last thing I would like to note is that earlier this week I attended Hanover Park's Park District meeting, and during this particular meeting we were provided with an update, like a financial update on how the Park District is doing. We were provided on an update on some of the bigger revenue streams. I learned that pickleball is very popular in this area, as well as tennis, and that much of our revenue for the Park District comes through those avenues. I also, during that meeting, unfortunately witnessed some challenges that the Park District is going through, and so I would just like to, I guess, make a statement that park districts are so important. They are, you know, in many ways the identity of a community, and so, you know, as a board, I would hope that, you know, we would do everything in our power to support the Park District, because it's a benefit to all of us when we do all that we can to support the parks. And I will close there. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Nicola. You have 1 minute.
Thank you. Sorry I had to run out on your conversation. But can I catch up with you later?
Yes, of course. I was just thanking the Park Districts.
You were doing what?
Thanking our Park District.
Dating?
Thanking.
Oh. Don't let the time, Mary. Trustee Priggy.
I also, I was on Zoom for that Park District meeting, and my takeaway is, I think after the election, we have to have a board meeting. They're messed up. It's not plain to say.
That's it? Trustee Husseini.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, Thursday, we had a community development meeting. We had a public hearing for adding a paragraph to existing zoning, Harold Park zoning ordinance. The amendment to the paragraph, to add to the paragraph, was that would restate, continue, and modify long-standing regulation requirements and prohibition concerning historic buildings and their adjoining land in the historic Ontarioville area, now located within the subject to the village center zoning district. So we had a hearing for that, and it was nobody showed up for the hearing. There was no participants to add to the value to the discussion, but the Development Commission did a discussion amongst the board, on the committee, and it was passed, or it was moved forward. So now with the economic development meeting we had on Tuesday, it was a great presentation by two libraries, Poplar Creek and Schaumburg Township. It was a very important subject. Shubhra mentioned that it was done previously too, a few years back, and they came back and did it again and talked about small businesses and how small businesses can take advantage of libraries and what's available. And there's a lot more available than I ever knew that library has to offer. Me as a small business, I could have utilized so many things when I started. And specifically, there was legal forms. Just for an agreement to be created, I spent so much money. And I needed a basic knowledge of it, basic agreement. I think the legal language is already included in there, and I would have needed that form. That is amazing, what library has to offer. Translation, languages. There were so many things that outstanding that it was important for us to hear. Not only that, I think everybody should invest their time to know when they're opening up a new business what library has to offer, and have a discussion with assigned people who are assigned for just specifically for small businesses, and you could actually book their time by going online and registering and making sure you get some time that's dedicated to you to understand what library has to offer. So I think it was very informative. It was really, really good. and we're going to continue to keep that momentum. Both committees are very active and very involved, as they should be. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I know we're served by numerous exceptional library districts. Schaumburg has been #1 for years and years, and others are coming up to speed there.
Yeah.
My son-in-law's been his whole life's in libraries, so I'm a great advocate. This community contributed many dollars to the branch where Schaumburg becomes a Irving Park Grove. Just to demonstrate how much we care. The branch for Poplar Creek Library down in your neighborhood,
Yes.
same way. We've typically invested in like a study room or something
Yes.
to show that library add value to our community. So nice to hear your articulation on that matter. Thank you. And Trustee Gutierrez?
Hi, yes. First, I just want to thank Mr. Bruce for bringing up the motor vehicle ordinance. This has been brought to my attention previously, and so I look forward to us looking at this matter, or the chief looking at this matter again. So yesterday I went to, I'm part of the coalition in Hanover Park, Coalition for Positive Youth Development, and this coalition is led by the schools and by students, and in our local schools, high schools, and they put together a whole fentanyl presentation. They had guest speakers. I was shocked to find out that Schaumburg in 2021, the numbers haven't come in for 22, 2021 was averaging 10 overdoses of fentanyl per month. So I was kind of shocked.
What was that?
10 overdoses of fentanyl per month in Schaumburg.
Like the village or the township?
The town of Schaumburg. At one point, it was a really big spike. And 79% of them are Gen Zs. Those are my kids. And so I thought, these are our neighbors, you know, that's a little bit too close for comfort. So it is, and I'm sure our chief knows and our police department knows that this is a problem. And so the coalition is looking at that. The coalition is also very active in Hanover Park. They're the ones that are working with the HUD homes, and they're the ones that are looking at doing a mural and cleaning up spaces in Greenbrook, but that they also brought this up was so important. They also spoke because of March being Gambling Addiction Awareness Month. They've had about, between Palatine, Schaumburg, Hanover Park, Elk Grove, and Hoffman Estates, we've had close to 7,000 people dealing with the gambling addiction. And of those 7,000, over 1,000 are suicidal. And again, those numbers are a little bit too close to us. So there's a number you can call, 1-800-GAMBLER, or areyourreallywinning.com, that is a great, great help. The CIDC committee is meeting 6:15 sharp. So members, if you're listening, it's at 6:15 sharp. March 21, on March 21st, and I'm so excited because we had homework, so I'm excited to see what they bring back. And on March 28th, the historical, also known as hysterical committee, is meeting. That's the fun bunch. And finally, I just want to thank all the women that came before us, that sat here before us. It is Women's History Month, and all the women in this room who are making history. Hoorah. Thank you.
Hoorah. Oh. Very good. Trustee Porter.
Thank you. I also want to add my commemoration of Women's History Month. I think it's very important that we recognize the value that women bring to all segments of our workplace and our society. And I'm very, very honored to sit with glass ceiling breakers and people who take that extra step to be out on the forefront and the cutting edge of our society. Secondly, I would like to propose that we take up an amendment or an action I'm proposing that we place a tax on the gun sales and the range and its use to fund a Victims of Gun Violence Fund. I think that we're seeing just recently with the shooting of Clarice Alexander, and there have been other incidents in our town. I believe that since we have taken the position of allowing a gun operation in town, we owe it to our residents to have a fund for victims of gun violence, and that the range should be responsible for providing the funds on that. So I would like to, whatever the proper procedure is to do that, whether that's a workshop to talk about the particulars of a motion like that and a movement like that, but I certainly would like to have that discussion, and I would invite my fellow board members to join me in that measure. I think we owe a responsibility to our residents to have that fund. And whether it's, like I said, putting a tax, an additional tax on the sale of guns, or whether it's funding the use of the range, that's up for discussion, and I'm open to have that discussion. But I would like to start the ball rolling in that manner.
If I may, I don't disagree. I think I'd like to give the department an opportunity to do some research on what's occurring in other municipalities as a follow-up to that.
Well, no other municipalities have gun ranges, so I'm thinking that we're unique in that we're the lone municipality until you get out to Naperville and some of the other places. But in this area, we have the gun range, and I think we have a unique, and I appreciate you and I respect your comment, Mayor, about having that. And I think that's part of the process, to have our staff look at what's been done in other places. But I think that barring that, or not holding solely to that, I think we need to do our due diligence here in looking at how that type of a proposal would go forward. And even if there's consensus to do it, I'm just presenting this as an idea and something that I would like to
I'm not okay with
to explore.
For people going to the range, that's training. I don't promote people being taxed for training. Possible sales, that might be a different story, but training, no.
So let's have that discussion.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. Let's have that discussion and see what we can do. But the bottom line is that I would like to see some type of financial assistance to victims of gun violence here in town.
So you want to hold a workshop?
Due diligence, I think.
You want to hold the workshop?
You
want to hold the workshop for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, do we need a workshop? I'd like staff to do diligence.
Well, they can do that first, and then we can hold the workshop. I'm not saying we're going to jump the gun. There's a process, so let them do that work, and then let's have the workshop based on whatever data they can bring back to us, and then let's have the workshop.
I support that.
Staff can come back to us at the next meeting. We'll look at where we go from there. But I think
And it does, and again, I'm not putting, the gun shop's going to be here. It's not going anywhere. And I don't want to put undue pressure on the staff that they got to turn this over by the next board meeting. There's a lot on their plate. I would like for them to do that, and then when they think that they've gathered sufficient information, then we can schedule the workshop. I mean, it's not, and I think if you do it urgently, then there's a chance that you get it wrong. So I would like to be measured in our approach and very deliberate in the approach, but ultimately, I'd like to have that discussion.
I agree with that. Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, finally, I'm going to jump the gun. I know my brethren down here in the kilts and everything is going to mention it, but happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. And I won't steal any more of your thunder, Glad. Okay, that's all I have.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Trustee Kemper.
So, well, real quick, unfortunately, we did not have a Veterans Committee meeting this month. Weather was a concern. So, but I did inquire in regards to how things are going with our Memorial Day event. And everything's in order except for one thing, Mayor, and I was told to remind you we need a keynote speaker.
I think that's a work in progress.
Okay.
And I'm speaking with Mike at Mission Church.
Okay.
And
Work in progress. All right, cool. And other than that, for those of us celebrating St. Patrick's Day, happy St. Patrick's Day. For those of us that will be celebrating St. Joseph's Day on Sunday, happy St. Joseph's Day.
Pat and Joe. Okay, thank you very much. We will be going to executive session. I don't have the numbers. Bernie?
It is C21.
C21, and we will return after that executive session.
I would like to request that department heads be excused and not be required to sit while we're in executive session, and that we return. Any public members that want to remain can do so, and the department heads can remain at their own discretion.
With that, we motion to
So moved.
go to executive session.
Second.
We have motion and second. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
And Trustee Husani.
Yes.
The time is now 8:01, and we will be returning.
myself. I want to thank everybody for supporting my endeavor with the merger. Yeah. I erroneously signed them.
That looks old.
It's current.
No, not with that logo. 13? I have a new one,
You have one newer?
I'm sure. That's 13.
Well, that was the one that Bernie sent me today.
I'll look in my office. What papers you have.
Joining.
I'm watching you on YouTube.
We're delayed.
Greetings
know.
from DeKalb.
We're waving.
Can you see us waving, Bernie?
I can see the mayor rocking in his chair.
Okay, we are live on YouTube, just so everyone knows.
I forgot to put my coat back. Should I go get it?
Nope, we're starting the meeting, and it is.
All right. Madam Clerk, if you would take the roll.
We're returning at 8:38 PM. Trustee Gutierrez?
Here.
Trustee Porter?
Here.
Trustee Kemper? Trustee Bancole?
Here.
Trustee Priegi?
Here.
And Trustee Husani.
Here.
We are all back.
Thank you, Christie. And move to pass an ordinance fixing the salary and deferred compensation of the village manager.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Priegi?
Yes.
And Trustee Husani.
Yes.
I love consensus. We have a motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
All in favor?
Second.
Third, fourth, fifth.
Whoa. What happened?
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Priegi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
And Trustee Kemper?
Yes.
The meeting is adjourned at 8:39 PM.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, boss.
I don't even know who adjourned first. You all pounced on it.